Sam saw Coops enter the reception area and scan round, presumably looking for her. She kept her head down, pretending not to notice him approach. "Keep your cards close to your chest, Sam."
"Hello, Sam. Fancy meeting you here," he said with a chuckle in his voice.
"You can chuckle, Mr. Cooper, but I'm not in the mood for humour. I've not been that shook up for a long time. Someone was chasing me yesterday, and I don't know why or who it was. The only people who knew I was on that flight were Clifford, Hugo, Sergio, and you. My head is in overdrive." Sam was going to continue, but he interrupted.
"Look, calm down, relax, take a deep breath. I asked him to follow you from the airport."
"You fucking what?" she snapped. "You had someone scare the shit out of me, you bastard! I'm out of here." Sam started to stand.
"Wait! I asked him to see where you went from the airport, not run you off the road. I like how you work and how you do business, but my man in the Lexus made an interesting comment. He said you drove like a professional, like a cop."
"That's the final straw, mister. I've spent almost 600,000 euros with you. I've talked about turning your cash round. You can now forget all that. You had me followed and almost killed myself on the motorway, and now you're calling me a cop. Fuck off." The ante on the table was now at its highest. Her heart was racing and her pulse was off the scale.
"So where did you learn to drive, Sam?"
Sam held his gaze for a few seconds before she said, "I told you the other night, Mr. Cooper, there is lots you don't know about me yet, so pin your ears back. When I lived out in Cape Town, my then partner, who was a member of the South African Special Forces Brigade, or Reckies, as they are known over there, taught me how to drive in the event of someone trying to carjack me, and for your information and that of your dog from yesterday, he also taught me how to use a gun, if I need to. I can drive better than anyone out there, and that includes that thug you set on me yesterday, so go and tell your thug that he had his pants pulled down by a blonde who has more talent in her little finger than he has in his whole body. Now, if you're done, I'm going. I'd like to say it's been nice knowing you, but that would be a lie." Coops had just experienced a Sam flashbang. Sam started to gather her jacket, bag, and magazine. "If you wanted to find out anything about me, all you had to do was ask. I don't know how the cops work or where they get their money from, but I doubt they would give you almost 600,000 euros of their cash. If you'll excuse me, Mr. Cooper, goodbye." She set off to walk out on him.
"Just hang on. I owe you an apology, Sam. I just wanted to be sure of you, that's all it was. You're a tough cookie, and I realise I've gone about this the wrong way. Can we start again?"
Sam stopped and played one more card. "Why would I wipe the slate clean? What's in it for me? We can't work together if there is no trust. I don't know. Let me have some time to think things over. I'll give you a call." With that, she walked out on him, jumped into her Beamer, and hit the road again, ensuring nothing was following. Just after 7:30, there was a knock on the door. Bob looked through the hotel room door spy-hole and saw Andy's features grotesquely distorted by the frog-eye lens in the spy-hole glass. Nevertheless, it was Andy, so Bob let him enter. Andy was dressed in his going-out clothes. He was all in white except for the red laces in his white trainers. He was wearing white tracksuit bottoms and a white T-shirt under a white puffer jacket. Bob asked him, "What have you come dressed as, an ice cream man?" Cue lots of laughter at Andy's expense, but it didn't bother him. He crossed the room and made a beeline for Dom and greeted him like a long-lost brother. "Dom, you're looking well, mate. I got to say when I heard it was you coming up, I was over the moon. You'll run circles round these Geordie muppets." Andy released Dom from the man-hug, then greeted Tracy with a light hug and peck on the cheek. Tracy raised her hand to her cheek when Andy said, "Are you rubbing that off or rubbing it in, darling?" "Definitely not in. Is that what you're going out in tonight?" Tracy said. Andy first greeted Bob and Terry with a handshake, but with a wink he said,
"This is the height of Italian fashion in the smoke, believe me. Geordies will all be wearing this in another 5 years when they catch up."
Tracy had to get in the last word. "I agree with Bob. You look like a fucking ice cream man. You've got to get changed, Andy, please." The room settled down and Tracy, Andy and Dom developed their legend story. Dominic gained several skills that were of use to him as an undercover officer. During his military service he obtained 3 driving licenses. The first was the standard driving licence. He did this in a military Land Rover at the age of 18. It was common practice back in the day for unlicensed squadron members to take a vehicle for a cabbie, a short unsupervised drive, around the motor transport yard. The yard circuit was 2 long straights connected with tight turns at each end. Imagine charioteers in the Ben-Hur film careering around Circus Maximus in ancient Rome. The yard was always busy with vehicles manoeuvring and soldiers moving around the place. On one of Dom's early illegal cabbie exploits, he crashed into a stationary 1-ton trailer, which in turn smashed into a metal corrugated wall which collapsed and brought down some of the asbestos roof panels of a garage. The racket must have attracted the attention of everyone within a 5-mile radius, including the transport sergeant. Dom got out of the Land Rover and assessed the damage to the building and the vehicle. Thinking he might get away unnoticed, he quickly swept away the broken headlight glass with his boot and pulled the crushed wing away from the front tyre. As he was about to make off from the scene of the crime, the transport sergeant bellowed in a thick Northern Irish accent, "Where the fuck do you think you're going, sonny? Come here!" Naturally for a soldier, Dom made his way across to the sergeant, who was built like the proverbial brick toilet. "How on God's earth did you manage to do that, boy?" he asked. Dom, never short of an answer, said, "I'll think oversteer, Sarge." The big Irishman wasn't impressed with Dom's flippant reply. "Oversteer? How long have you had a licence?" "That's the problem, Sarge. I don't have one.